Hello, everybody. This is the next edition of Council Chat. I am Councilman Marty Grossman. With me right now, I have Traces Gordon, who is the Community Services Officer for the Prescott Valley Police Department. Later on, we will be joined by Councilmember Jodi Rooney, and we will be talking about the 40th anniversary that we're going to be doing this year. But right now, I have Traces here. Thank you for coming and welcome.
Well, thanks for inviting me, Marty.
Okay. Traces is the expert on Block Watch, National Night Out, community services, and why don't you just tell a little bit about your job and your description?
Oh my gosh, well, in our position, there's 5 of us, 2 are part-time. We're community service officers. So what we do basically is we back up the patrol officers and what they need. In addition, we do the officer recruiting, testing, the background investigations for all police department employees, civilian and sworn, and each of us has a specialty. My specialty is crime prevention.
Oh, that's awesome. So I understand you do have a background as a law enforcement officer, even though for Prescott Valley you are a civilian employee.
That's correct. I'm a retired police officer out of Colorado.
That's awesome. So, okay, we want to talk about Block Watch. So, Block Watch, for those of you that do not know, it's a community program. Every member gets one of these lovely signs to hang in their window that want to participate. Okay, and we also, as you just told me, we have a brand new Block Watch pamphlet that's available at the in the lobby of the police department. You could probably also get them in the lobby of the Civic Center. So this is got a lot of good information. So why don't you talk a little bit about how the Block Watch program works?
Well, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the history of Block Watch. It is based out of, in the 60s, an incident with Kitty Genovese in Queens, New York, where people witnessed her being raped and murdered and no one interceded. So the neighbors loosely developed what they called a watch, and later on that has turned into a Block Watch, which was adopted by the National Sheriff's Association in 1974. It's now worldwide, which is pretty amazing. In Prescott Valley, we have numerous Block Watch groups, and basically I've got it down to about 3 steps to start a Block Watch. The first one is discuss it with your neighbors, see if they're interested, give us a phone call, and we'll pick a meeting date. The second one is I basically show up at your meeting and lay out the parameters of the program. In other words, we don't want you tackling people you see suspicious. We want you to call us. And the last one is you just need to have an annual meeting to be an active Block Watch group. So it's pretty much compacted into a very efficient program now. And National Night Out, which is the mother of all Block Watch parties, is on Tuesday, August 7th this year.
Yes, everybody, make sure you mark down Tuesday, August 7th. Even though your community might not be part of a Block Watch program, you could still do a National Night Out party, get some of your neighbors together and have someone host it at their home. You could have a barbecue or a potluck. So who shows up at these National Night Out to go throughout the community?
Last year, we had 16 parties in Prescott Valley, and all facets of town government show up, from yourself, town council, the mayor,
department heads,
code enforcement, maintenance, the police officers, animal control. Just all different facets show up, which is fantastic.
And I know we also had some of our firefighters.
We did.
In the community going
Absolutely.
out and about. So I know the big hit is usually the canine, because usually these National Night Out, there's a lot of kids around, and we get the dogs and the canines, and they're always a big sell. So that's
and so are the fire, and so is the fire department. Absolutely.
Okay, just getting back to the Block Watch. If I wanted to start a Block Watch, what would I have to do?
First of all, contact some of your neighbors. We don't have a minimum number. We'd like more than 2, of course, but say you go up and down your street, usually it's set geographically. So within an area that you live, not 10 blocks out, usually 1 or 2 blocks in your area, contact your neighbors, see if they're interested. give me a phone call, 928-772-5161. We'll set up a meeting, and then I invite the entire police department. Members from the police department will show up at the first meeting as well, and we lay out the program, we answer questions, we talk about crime prevention, and then we hand out these posters and the brochures, and then we hope that you'll participate in an annual meeting, which is usually a national night out.
Now, okay, so my neighborhood started a block watch, and we want to make sure that those coming to our neighborhood are aware of it. Are there signs available?
There are signs available, and it helps when you have a block watch captain or leader who can go over and introduce themselves and tell these new folks, these new neighbors about the program and see if they're interested in participating.
Okay. I'm a member of the block watch, and I look out my window and I see a bunch of people that I don't recognize walking along my block, okay, and they don't really look suspicious, but you don't know. Is that something that I would have to call in about? And is it worth me taking the time to make that call? You know, is it worth the police time to come and investigate? It's
always worth the police time. We always want witnesses to be safe. We don't want you to confront people, ever, ever, ever. If they're people you don't recognize, they look like maybe they're prowling the neighborhood, that type of thing, absolutely call the police. You can call 911 or the non-emergency number, which is 928-772-9267. And we will go ahead and have the officers dispatched, and they can investigate.
Okay, as a block watch member, when I call in, do I have to, is it good for me to identify myself as a block watch member? Does my call get more priority over someone else just calling up and thinking that they may have a problem?
I don't think so. I think that they take each call on its own merit, and it may add a little bit of credibility that you are trained what to look for and when to call in. But for the most part, the dispatchers are collecting the same information and sending out the same information to the police officers.
Oh, very good information. Okay, I just want to touch briefly on another program that is not endorsed or by the police department, but they're aware of it, and I know I'm part of it. It's called Nextdoor. They have a website, nextdoor.com, and right now in the Prescott Valley community, we have 18 Nextdoor communities, okay? And what they do, and you are familiar with Nextdoor and how
I'm on it also.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Are you a lead in your area?
No.
Okay, because I'm a lead in my area, so it's fun. Okay, just to give you an idea of some of the stuff that we do, basically, you could have a lost dog, okay? Someone found a dog, so you put it on the Nextdoor. So it's like a instant block watch. It's all communicated through emails and online. And basically, you know, if you have, you know, a dresser for sale, how do I get rid of my mattress? Or I have some real estate, I have an empty lot that wants to be sold. All this kind of stuff goes out on the Nextdoor website. It's great information. You could either post it within your own Nextdoor community, or you could send it out to the other Nextdoor communities that surround you, or to all of them. Mm-hmm. I have always found it. I am also hopefully within the next 6 months or so maybe get a program together, and because businesses can become part of Nextdoor, mm-hmm. They have their own type of community, and there's also where the town could actually become a member of Nextdoor, mm-hmm. and it would then fall upon you. So anyway, I just wanted to mention that. If anybody needs more information, go to nextdoor.com. Okay. I would like to go back and talk about some of the crime prevention techniques, methods that you talk with communities. You know,
okay.
What are some of the things a person can do to prevent crime in the neighborhood? I know as a council member, I get the daily police reports, and the biggest thing I see right now is people are leaving their cars parked in their driveways, unlocked, with valuables inside.
Absolutely. Okay? That's been our most recent crime trend. And so we have a brochure here. It says move it or lose it. But basically, we're encouraging people, if they can, park in their garage. If not, make sure your car is locked and there are no valuables in plain sight in your car. We recommend you don't leave any valuables. We've had guns stolen from cars. We've had computers, cameras, cell phones. The other night we had 8 auto burglaries in Granville, and all of the cars were left unlocked. All of them. There were purses taken, and the person who went through the cars just took cash and tossed everything else, but that's not usually the case. They're taking identification, they're taking credit cards, that type of thing. It will take you months, if not years, to restore your identity once it is stolen.
So basically these are crimes of opportunity rather than
Yes.
someone really going out and looking to break into a car.
Right.
But if the door is open, it's just a crime of opportunity, and
Right.
teenagers being teenagers sometimes.
And this person was described as being between 30 and 40 years old. So what happens is they just go down the street and they just try door handles. So.
Yeah, that's you know, that's pretty, yeah. Could you talk a little bit about the new program that they have regarding alarms?
Yes, the alarm verification program. So what happens now is if a resident has an alarm, the first thing the company that monitors their alarm will do is call that resident or a responsible key holder and find out, is it a false alarm? Would they like police dispatched? So if the person's out of town, they probably will say, the homeowner will say, please send the police. The police get there. If it's a false alarm, okay, they will be, this homeowner will be referred to a company called Cry Wolf. The first false alarm is mandatory registration. It's $15. Subsequent false alarms, they will get fined for down the road. There are exemptions. Medical alarms, panic alarms. Anything that's medical related is usually exempt. So, and there are some exemptions, and they have an appeal process also. Homeowners can appeal it within 20 days.
Okay, if any fines are handed out, is it handed out to the homeowner or to the alarm company?
Well, actually, they can be handed out to both. For instance, the dispatcher of the alarm company decides, I'm not going to take the time to call the homeowner, I'm just going to call the police department. They can be fined $500 for that, which is pretty steep. So they need to verify the alarms first. There's a fine also for the homeowner if they have continuous false alarms, and I don't remember what the fees are.
But okay, but the fees are out there. Is there a different format for residential or business as far as the alarm verification?
No, actually that is a great question. No, it's the same format. However, the police don't respond usually on car alarms, boat alarms, that type of thing. They respond, of course, to business and residential. In both cases, there should be a list of responsible parties or key holders for that business or residence that can be contacted in lieu of sending the police directly.
Very good, thank you. Okay, so again, Blockwatch, you know, if anybody wants to get hold of you, you know, how would they do that?
If they want to get a hold of me for Blockwatch to set up a group where they'd like some information, my direct number is 928-772-5161.
That's great. And could they send you an email?
Absolutely, at T as in Tom Gordon, Gordon, at pvaz.net.
Okay. And again, the National Night Out is Tuesday, August what?
7th, Tuesday, August 7th.
What time?
Every party starts at different times. They usually start late afternoon, around probably 5-ish, and they usually run to about 8 or 9 at night.
That's great. Okay, and again, a lot of this information, if you go to Prescott Valley, pvaz.net, that's the Prescott Valley website. A lot of that information is there. For example, I downloaded, you know, these things on Blockwatch and National Night Out, and there are pictures and information, and it has all the names and addresses of the people responsible. Okay, same thing with Blockwatch. That's available, and again, you could always contact Traces. The other thing we talked about was the Nextdoor. So you go to nextdoor.com, and you could get a lot of good information there. You could also contact me, Marty Grossman, mgrossman@pvaz.net, and you could contact us. The phone number is 759-3100. That will get you to our administrative assistant, Leah, and she could connect you to me. So at this time, I'd like to thank Traces for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Marty.
Okay, this was great information out there, and I know you're always out in the community, and whenever there's an event where the police are involved, I mean, you're there, and
yes,
and Javier is there, and a few others, and
right.
It's just always a fun, great program interacting with our local police department. You know, they are not only the police, but they're also our neighbors and friends. So make sure that you get up there. So again, thank you very much. We will be joined shortly by Jodi Rooney, and thanks again. Hello, I'm joined now by Councilmember Jodi Rooney, and we are going to talk about the 40th anniversary of Prescott Valley. That's impressive, you know. Coming from New York City, I mean, that's an old established city and it has a lot of history to it, but to be part of a community that's only 40 years old, and we're surrounded by other communities that are considerably older, I think that's just a great opportunity and a great, you know, it's going to be a fun celebration and party, basically with the new kids on the block and with the teenagers creating all kinds of trouble within the community. You know, we're the fastest growing, we're the youngest, we're the biggest in population in northern Arizona, and that's a great accomplishment. So anyway, what could we expect from our 40th anniversary? And thank you for being here, first of all.
Oh, well, gosh, Marty, I appreciate you having me on Council Chat today, too. Thank you. You know, and you make a good point about having come from the East Coast. And, you know, and back in the day, they used to say, go west, young man, go west. And it is exciting to be part of something that's new. Certainly in 1978 is when our town, Prescott Valley, was incorporated. And I don't know if you remember what you were doing in 1978.
Actually, I do.
Do you? Tell me one thing that you were doing in 1978.
I was still working retail. I was getting ready to be a member of the U.S. Postal Service as a letter carrier. I was taking the test, and I actually started working with the Postal Service in 1979. So yeah.
Very good. And that's appreciated. We have some very hard-working Postal Service employees, and I appreciate that. You know, they come to my house almost every day. But in 1978, here in Prescott Valley, we were incorporated. And I was just at the Historical Society this past week visiting about that time, and then also what we're headed into for this year. Because it's a big year, 40, and by the way, we're going with Ruby, which is the gem for 40.
Oh, nice.
Our theme this year is the Wizard of Oz with the ruby slippers.
Oh, cool.
Yes, and I was teasing Councilman Anderson. Well, that'll play into it as well. But yesterday on the radio, Councilman Rick Anderson, I was teasing him about wearing his ruby slippers, and he's like, well, I don't know about that, Jodi, but we will have people wearing those. There's a lot of things going on. We did do our kickoff on New Year's Eve. We're going to be having events.
That was a lot of fun.
Oh my gosh, it was great. And that bonfire, love that bonfire, and all the events for the kids, and it was free.
Yes,
and that's
that was
part
the best
of what
part.
I love about our community. We have a lot of free events for our families. It's wonderful. So what is going on is, because it's a big year for us, we're going to be doing events for the next several months. In fact, on through August, which is our
the official
anniversary month, but we're going to go on beyond that. So I just want to share with our citizens, because we have a lot of new ones moving here, what's happening.
That's great.
So let me run on down the list, if you don't mind. We did do our polar bear splash. I know you were there.
Yes, I did not jump in.
And you were not a nice princess, but we had a gentleman that was crowned,
yes.
Mr. Pemberton, and he was great. Yeah. And that was a lot of fun, and all those kids eating those donuts with the white powder all over their faces hanging from a string.
Yeah, for those that didn't know, it was from a string. They couldn't use hands, and they, you know, basically adjusted it, and it was bobbing their heads under it. It was just really funny and entertaining.
Oh,
and
it was
the kids
great.
had a great time.
They did. They did. I loved it. It was community.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of what people enjoy being here, and I love, is that we're part of a community.
Yeah. Now, one of the sponsors of that was IHOP. They're the one, they provided a free pancake breakfast that morning, and we had so many people turn out because the weather was so nice, we ran out of food.
Yes, it was a record. We were looking for 40 bears for 40 years, and we had over 60 bears jump in the water.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, and we had several sponsors that day, and we really appreciate our sponsors. Yeah. And in fact, I want to share, if any of our business sponsors were interested in participating, they can call me at 928-308-2980 or email me at jrooney@pvaz.net. And
let's get on to some of the items coming up.
We have the I Love PV poster contest, and that will be ongoing. There's information on our web at pvaz.net. We will be having awards for the winners. It can be from kids to seniors, everybody in between, and certainly our Parks and Rec are the ones that can get information for them on that. Now, the phone number for that is 928-759-3090. That is a really cool event. I think a lot of people who have that artistry flavor will enjoy. Along with that, in March, just quickly on the Theater on the Green, we're going to see a lot of green grass that's going to be covered by eggs, a sea of eggs.
Oh, that's going to be hilarious.
And we have a lot of families that turn out. Again, another free event. All right, and then, and I believe there's some giveaways that day as well. That's in March. I believe it's the 24th. In April, we're going to be having Arbor Day, and I know some of our people here, our citizens, have been able to go to the new park, the Bob Edwards Park. Fantastic park.
Yes, it is.
Yes, and we're going to be having an event planting 40 trees again, and we've got there'll be food that day. We'll be having music as well.
Oh, great.
That will be an event people are going to want to definitely go to. In May, we're going to be having Prescott Valley Days.
All right,
yes,
awesome.
And that's that parade. And of course, our chamber here is awesome. Marty Yule and the gang over at the chamber, they do a fantastic job, and we appreciate them. So that parade is going to be a lot of fun. So again, with the theme of The Wizard of Oz, I think there's going to be some opportunities there for some of our citizens and our businesses to participate too.
Oh wow, we have all the munchkins come out.
Yes, and then of course in May and in June we're going to have Movies Under the Stars, and that's where people can come and lay their blankets down, and I've seen them come with their puppy dogs and the families. Wonderful free event, and it is sponsored by some of our businesses, those are stakeholders here. We appreciate our sponsors. Something else that's going to be coming up in July as well is a Comic-Con. Marty, have you ever been to a Comic-Con?
No, but I have seen them on TV. I mean, a lot of times they had them in, well, they did have them in New York, but it was so crazy and crowded. I said, no, it ain't for me. But, oh yeah, people getting dressed up in full costume of the comic book heroes that they have. You know, it could be heroes or villains. So, but yeah, and people go all out on these. I mean, it's just, there's even more costumes then than they have on Halloween. So
it's amazing. I know the other night my mom and I watched Wonder Woman. I have always loved Wonder Woman.
There you go.
Yeah, so we may see a Wonder Woman. It's not going to be me, but we're going to have a Comic-Con. Our library professionals are going to be putting that on. Also, well, of course, in July we're going to have our Independence Day celebration. There'll be fireworks, athletic tournaments.
I mean, that's always a fun event. And you add to the 40th anniversary, and it's going to be super.
You bet. I want to get into August, and that's our pinnacle month. That's where on the weekend of the 25th and 26th of August, we will be having a 2-day of events. On Saturday, we'll definitely be having a reenactment of our incorporation of the town from 1978.
Oh, wow, that's going to be awesome.
Yes, and reaching back as we were planning, looking at what TV shows were going on, we chose Hollywood Squares. That's going to be worth coming to. There will be a car show. The Historical Society is going to have a history tent. We'll have fireworks. Of course, we're going to have a concert. There'll be music coming back to the 70s. I don't know about you. Do you remember the music from the 70s?
70s, yeah.
Okay. I remember the clothes, too, and the hairdos. Oh, my gosh. Of course, there'll be...
Yeah, I remember the hair.
There will be food and beverage, bouncy village for the kids, and an art show. On Sunday, we're going to have a cowboy church service.
Oh, wow.
Yes. Yes, and there's an opportunity for the cowgirls and cowboys to tie the knot if they want to.
Is it going to be a non-denominational, or?
Yeah, it's going to have that cowboy flavor.
Okay.
I think it'll fit very nicely for what we're doing here. And certainly, if people want to renew their vows, that's an opportunity. I've been married 15 years to Mr. Casey, and so I'll have to, hit him up. Hey, baby, how would you like to renew your vows?
Sounds like fun.
We're also going to have choirs and quartets. We'll have a diversity element because we have a lot of ethnic community that's here that we're going to be bringing them forward. We want to be able to just celebrate our diversity. And we have a lot of people, when I was talking to Carm Staker yesterday, she's from Iowa. So we have a lot of folks from Minnesota, from California, from Iowa, regional diversity as well. We'll have town hall tours, food and beverage, there'll be an art show. Also, the Historical Society will do another antique road show. That's a popular item. And of course, my favorite, the ice cream social.
Oh, cool.
So closing up in September is a wonderful event we have is the Healing Field. And
Yes.
anyone who has not been to that, I would strongly suggest come to the Healing Field.
I hate to cut you off, but we only got 1 minute left, and just a couple of questions I have really quick. Before I thank you. And are there going to be any mementos to be sold, like pins, hats, whatever, for this event?
Yes, there are. And in fact, the pins are already on order that we'll have. And certainly they've talked about our t-shirts as well. We have a logo that we'll be putting out there, and we're going to see banners. You betcha,
That's
you got
the logo.
it. It's wonderful. There's a lot of planning and a lot of hands, and we're looking for volunteers. And you can get a hold of me at 928-308-2980, or you can get Heidi Foster here at the town as well. And she can be reached at 928-759-3123.
Okay, and everybody could also get the information on our website, pvaz.net. This was great. I wish we had more time, but there's just so much that you could do and so much to say. The information is going to be out there on a regular basis. Thank you so much for being here. It's always a pleasure talking with you. This is going to be a fun year.
Yes.
And I hope everybody else comes out there. Again, you can contact any of us through the town website, pvaz.net. The information is going to be there. It'll be in the Prescott Valley Tribune, be in the Courier. We're going to get it out there. We have Facebook, social media. So thank you, everyone, again. This is a great session of Council Chat. Again, I am your host today, Councilman Marty Grossman, and I look forward to seeing you another time. Thank you.